Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel where we are raw reacting to music you guys have been recommending over the last few weeks since I've started this channel. I have been enjoying this because I feel like I know a lot of music, but I don't know. I feel like I haven't really been respecting the music culture enough to sit here and know all these small details or educate myself on all the things that you guys have been educating me on. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am open to learning new things about all these artists. And there's actually been quite a few bands on here that are either old school, new school that I never knew existed. And it's been really exciting. And they're huge. They're like huge. So thank you very much for those. Today we have an artist. I'm not sure if it's a band, an artist. It sounds like it's just a single person, but I'm sure he has a band. You guys can let me know down below. Like I said, we are reacting without any information given. And then I like to learn about them after. So you want to drop some people down there in those comments that you want me to learn about, some new discovered music. I would love, love, love that. And today you guys recommended Tim Minchin. You guys have heard of Tim? Cool. I have not. So this is new for me. And I'm excited. I like all genres of music. I like metal. I like rock. I like classical. I like alternative. I like acoustic. The music that just makes me feel good. You know, when they can just like almost balance you from head to toe all the way down, even if it's something that's like hardcore or intense or like music that should get you up and going, but it still just feels good. I like that. I like when it can do that to me. So go ahead and drop some music down below. If you like this video, make sure you like it, subscribe. We are going to get into it with Thank You God by Tim Minchin. Let's get into it, guys.
Sorry, I'm procrastinating. Look, there's just something I kind of need to address, and I should do it. I know I should do it now. That, over the years, I've realized that a lot of my audience has come to my shows, particularly because of sometimes because I quite often sing about beliefs. Specifically, in the past, I've sung a lot about.
I know it's getting deep right away, but this is literally how I feel when I'm starting these YouTube videos. I'm not good at public speaking. I feel like I'm publicly speaking even though I'm in a room by myself. And I bet he's about to surprise me because the fact that he's starting off like this, I bet he's just going to like rock my world.
Faith and religion, and if I'm completely honest with you, I've tended to mock some of the, not in general, but some of the might perceived hypocrisies. But I just don't want anyone to be waiting for that because I'm not doing it anymore. Well, I know it's. Look, I should. You've earned an explanation. You're right. Something happened to me. You see, when I was touring my last show in Australia, it was the beginning of last year, and I was doing a gig, not one of my gigs. It was it was actually a new material night, hosted by the Ross Noble. You know, the long-haired mentally ill northerner, and he's not obviously. He's a genius, which is a mentally ill person with an audience. He's beautiful. He's you know Ross. He's the best, and he does this amazing gig. And we were having a drink afterwards, and it was a really nice vibe in the bar. But I noticed this dude who slightly uncomfortably was hovering sort of on the periphery of our group. And I noticed in particular, this tall, really handsome guy had those nice dreadlocks that you can get for about 600 quid at the hairdresser, and he had a shirt open to about here, and it's very tanned. But I noticed him particularly because he had a long silver chain. And hanging on the end of the chain, a quite prominent silver cross. You know, the sort of cross you might wear if you're a fan of intersections. Or the lowercase letter T. Or probably most commonly if you're a fan of the apparatus by which first century Romans put to death and tortured Jewish insurgents. And anyway, he was sort of standing there, and eventually he made the move, and he came over. It's lovely, polite guy. He said, "Hi, g'day, I'm Sam." His name was Sam. He said, "I'm from..."
That guy is very unimpressed in the back, I feel like. You see him. I thought he was a statue at first. I haven't seen any reaction from this guy's kind of funny.
Dandenong. He
I
was
like
from,
this intro.
Dandenong, which is the suburb of Dandenong, set in the Dandenong Ranges, just to the southeast of Melbourne. And we got talking, but I could tell he wanted to talk to me, and eventually he managed to kind of, isolate me from the pack. And he said, Tim, I've always wanted to talk to you because I'm a fan of your work, and I don't want you to think I'm offended or anything, but as you might have noticed, I'm a Christian. And he said, I've always wanted to ask you why you don't believe in God. And I said, well, Sam, I don't believe in God for the same reason that anyone that doesn't believe in a thing doesn't believe in it, because I haven't yet been offered enough evidence to allay my doubts. And he said, but you don't just go through your whole life only believing things for which you have evidence. And I said, well, that's pretty much how I stutter my way through my turgid existence, yeah. And he said, what about love? And I said, well, what about love, Sam? And he said, do you believe in love? And I said, yeah, I believe in love. I think I love. I am loved. Sure. And he said, aha, you don't have any evidence for love. And I said, I think, yeah, I've got evidence. Sure. I mean, love without evidence is stalking. And he said, well, Tim, if it's evidence you want, how about this? And he told me this story, this incredible story about his mum. You see, Sam and his mother were members of a big evangelical church congregation in the Dandenongs, one of those new glassy type ones. And in her early 60s, Sam's mum had gone to the doctor with a problem with her eye, and he had diagnosed an irreversible degenerative eye disorder. And he told her that if she didn't get surgery very quickly, that she would lose her eyesight. And Sam's mum was afraid. She didn't believe in modern medicine. She didn't trust doctors. She was afraid of hospitals and the idea of surgery. But Sam and his mum went to this church, this incredible church. And that Sunday, the entire congregation of their church, some 1,700 people, prayed at the same time for Sam's mum. And the following Tuesday, they went back to the doctor.
I know that this is kind of a deep story right now still, but I'm just loving watching this. I think this is Tim. This is Tim, right, guys? Okay. This is not what I expected thus far. If you guys have any insight on what this event was, maybe is this how he starts all of his shows? It looks like he has an entire orchestra behind him. It's gonna be real. Gonna get real, right? Right?
And there was no sign that there'd ever been anything wrong with her eyes. She was healed. She was cured. And the reason this story had an impact on me is because I try to be intellectually honest with others and with myself, and all I've ever asked for is evidence. And here I was witnessing a first-person account of what can only be described as a miracle. So I went home and I wrote this song.
Do it.
I have an apology to make. I'm afraid I've made a big mistake. I turned my face away from you, Lord. I was too blind to see the light. I was too meek to feel your might. I closed my eyes, I couldn't see the truth, Lord. But then like Saul on the Damascus road, you sent a messenger to me, and so now I've had the truth revealed to me. Please forgive me all those things I said. I'll no longer betray you, Lord. I will pray to you instead, and I will say thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mum. I had had no idea, but it's suddenly so clear. Now I feel such a cynic. How could I have been so dumb? Thank you for displaying how praying works. A particular prayer in a particular church. Thank you, Sam, for the chance to acknowledge this omnipotent ophthalmologist. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mum. I didn't realize that it was so simple, but you've shown a great example of just how it can be done. Young
Definitely surprised me. I'm really. What kind of music does he write, guys? What kind of music does he write? I love his personality. I love that he's so different, and the fact that he started this with the whole story behind, like Dolly. Like I did that video on Dolly Parton, and she had a whole story beforehand to kind of explain the song, and I love when they do that.
You need to pray in a particular spot to a particular version of a particular God. And if you pull that off without a hitch, he will fix one eye of one middle-class white bitch. I know in the past my outlook has been limited. I couldn't see examples of where life had been definitive, but I can admit it when the evidence is clear as Sam's mom's new cornea. And that's extremely clear. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mom. I have to admit that in the past I have been skeptical, but Sam described this miracle and I am overcome. How fitting that the sighting of a sight-based intervention should open my eyes to this exciting new dimension. It's like someone put an eye chart up in front of me and the top 5 letters say I-C-G-O-D. Thank you, Sam, for showing how my point of view has been so flawed. I assumed there was no God at all, but now I see that cynical. It's simply that his interests aren't particularly broad. He's largely undiverted by the starving masses, or the inequality between the various classes. He gives out strictly limited passes, redeemable for surgery or 2-for-1 glasses. I feel so shocking for historically mocking you. Your interests are clearly confined to the ocular. I bet given the chance, you'd eschew the divine and start a little business selling contacts online. Fuck me, Sam, what are the odds that of history's endless parade of gods, that the God who just happened to be taught to believe in is the actual God, and he digs on healing, but not the AIDS-ridden African nations, nor the victims of the plague, nor the flood-addled Asians, but healthy, privately insured Australians with common incurable lens degeneration. The story of Sam's is but a single explanation, a surgical God who digs on magic operations. No, it couldn't be mistaken, attribution of causation, born of a coincidental temporal correlation, exacerbated by a general lack of education, vis-a-vis physics in Sam's parish congregation. It couldn't be that all these pious people are liars. It couldn't be an artifact of confirmation bias, a product of groupthink, a mass delusion, an emperor's new clothes style, fear of exclusion. No, it's more likely to be an all-powerful magician than the misdiagnosis of the initial condition, or one of many cases of spontaneous remission, or a record-keeping glitch by the local physician. No, the only explanation for Sam's mum's scene, they prayed to an all-knowing super being, to the omnipresent master of the universe, and he liked the sound of their muttered verse. So for a bit of a change from his usual stunt of being a sexist, racist, murderous cunt, he popped down to Dandenong and just like that used his powers to heal the cataracts of Sam's mum. Of Sam's mum. Oh, thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mum.
I'm just going to point out that why is nobody jamming in the audience? Did they know where they were signing up for? Like, did they know where they were going? How come nobody's getting down?
Didn't realize that it was such
No
a simple
movement.
thing. I feel such a ding-a-ling, what ignorant scum. Now I understand how prayer can work. A particular prayer in a particular church, in a particular style, with a particular stuff, and for particular problems that are particularly tough, and for particular people, preferably white, and for particular senses, preferably sight. A particular prayer in a particular spot, to a particular version of a particular God. And if you get that right, he just might take a break from giving babies malaria and pop down to your local area to fix the cataracts of your mom.
You guys. Who recommended this one for me? I'm going to come back and find you.
It's a miracle.
You guys, Okay, so what just happened? Because it felt like he was giving a sermon for a second. And then the story, the background, I thought this was like when he discovered faith. And then kind of was, I guess. Is this guy a comedian? I'm going to look it up after. But drop down some fun facts about Tim because he seems like he might be a comedian, singer-songwriter. Is that like a thing? I don't know. Whoever recommended this, you have a sense of humor, I feel like. That was really interesting to watch. That was Tim Minchin, everybody. If you have not seen him before, well, there we go. I think that maybe there just wasn't people like swaying to the beat really because the layout, like what this looks like an orchestra. Is that like what that is? The music was beautiful. He was funny. It was interesting. It was different. I mean, it was interesting. Let me know what you think. Drop it down in the comments. I'd like to watch something different. I'd like to see what else his music is and like what else he's kind of moving with out here. Everybody, that was Tim. Thank you so much for watching. That was a raw reaction to one of his shows. Thank you, God. And if you have some more recommendations, go ahead and drop them below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys.